Welcome to Flash News Now. Here are today's top 12 stories. UK court upholds ban on Palestine Action as terrorist group. Norwegian crown princess's son found guilty of 2 counts of rape. Marius Borg Høiby, the 29-year-old son of Norway's crown princess Mette-Marit, has been sentenced to 4 years in jail. Belgium v Egypt Live, World Cup 2026. Follow our live build-up, with full team news coverage, ahead of our text commentary stream. FIFA World Cup 2026, Day 4. Ukraine, Kyiv's historic cathedral set ablaze in Russian attack. The torching of Kyiv's St. Michael's Cathedral is not merely an assault on a cultural icon, it is a calculated move by Moscow to undermine the symbolic heart of Ukrainian national identity while simultaneously testing Western resolve ahead of the Paris G7. By striking a site that houses the nation's most revered relics, Russia aims to amplify fear, erode morale, and signal that even the sanctum of faith is not immune to its strategic calculus. This attack arrives at a critical juncture. The G7 summit will convene with leaders poised to decide on further sanctions, military aid, and diplomatic isolation. Iran says Lebanon, assets release key parts of peace deal with U.S. Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson says ending the war in Lebanon is an inseparable part of the U.S.-Iran agreement. Cybersecurity vets protest dangerous U.S. government ban on Anthropic's most powerful models. A group made up of dozens of cybersecurity experts urged the White House to remove export control restrictions on Anthropic's models Fable and Mythos, arguing that the order is going to limit the ability of cybersecurity defenders to secure their software and products. Is Lebanon included? Country hopeful for U.S.-Iran ceasefire, despite doubts. Ceasefire raises hopes in Lebanon, yet Israeli defiance and past violations overshadow lasting peace. Israel has had its hands forced by U.S.-Iran deal. The U.S. and Iran said they have agreed terms to end their war and reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Though the text has not yet been published, its apparent call for hostilities to cease more broadly could be tricky for Israel, which was not part of the negotiations and has been waging war in Lebanon against the Iran-aligned Hezbollah group. France 24's Noga Tarnopolsky reports from Jerusalem. Iran take World Cup center stage as they arrive in U.S. The Iranian squad's first U.S. trip at a World Cup is a symbolic thrust that dovetails with the newly announced peace accord, suggesting Tehran's intent to re-engage on multiple fronts, sporting diplomacy and geopolitical rapprochement, simultaneously. In a climate where U.S. sanctions still loom over Iranian athletes and the domestic political debate over the deal remains volatile, this landing signals a calculated risk. The team must balance on-field performance against the risk of becoming a flashpoint for either side's hardliners. For observers, the next moment to watch is how the U.S. Department of State and the UN. Oxford Union's first Palestinian president faces down smear campaign. Arwa El Reyes's clash with the British press is a telling flashpoint in the broader contest over narratives around the Israel-Palestine conflict. In a media environment where every word is amplified across global feeds, the allegation that a student-run body at Oxford is justifying October 7 carries implications far beyond campus politics. It signals how Western institutions are policing dissent on a highly politicized issue, and how that policing is itself being weaponized by state-aligned actors to delegitimize Palestinian voices. The episode also underscores the volatility of the union's reputation, and, by extension, the reputational calculus of other historically prestigious forums that are increasingly scrutinized for perceived bias. SpaceX's biggest ever IPO just grew to $85.7 billion raised. The market's sudden focus on a near-term, multi-billion-dollar equity offering from a private launch titan signals that capital is once again flowing to high-risk, high-growth sectors despite the broader equity slowdown, and it forces a recalibration of how investors price future tech assets. If an offering of this magnitude were to materialize, it would compress the valuation gap between SpaceX and its public peers, Tesla, Nvidia, and the emerging class of satellite internet companies, while also testing the appetite of institutional allocators that have been trimming exposure to speculative tech after recent earnings volatility. That was your Flash News Now bulletin. Subscribe for more.